Brother and sister, the world is full of opinions, advice, and noise. Everywhere you look, someone is offering a quick fix, a shortcut, or a clever trick to solve your problems. But here's the truth. The voices of this world will keep changing. What they tell you today will contradict what they say tomorrow. That's why you can't build your life on shaky advice from people who don't see the full picture. Only God knows the beginning from the end. When you stop seeking answers in the unstable wisdom of man and start seeking them in the presence of God, you step into a realm where direction is clear and peace is unshakable. Sometimes you are not confused because God hasn't spoken. You are confused because you've been listening to too many voices. The counsel of friends, family, social media, and so-called experts can leave you more drained than before. But when you shut the door, silence the noise, and ask God, even one whisper from Him will do more for your life than 1,000 speeches from men. He is not just giving you advice, He's giving you eternal truth that cannot fail. When the Israelites were trapped at the Red Sea, they could have asked Egypt what to do. They could have cried to neighboring nations for help. But what would that have solved? Egypt would have told them to surrender. Other nations would have told them to run. God told Moses to stretch out his staff, and the impossible happened. When you talk to God, He'll tell you things no one else would dare suggest, because His ways are higher than human logic. The world will tell you to follow your feelings, but feelings are unstable. One day they are high, the next day they sink. God tells you to follow His word, which never changes. Feelings are like waves. They toss you here and there. But God's word is like the anchor that holds you steady no matter the storm. When you go to Him, you are no longer at the mercy of your emotions. You are led by eternal truth. In the book of Daniel, when King Nebuchadnezzar had a dream no one could interpret, he asked all the magicians and wise men of Babylon. They failed. But when Daniel sought God, the mystery was revealed in a vision that night. That shows us something powerful. There are some answers the world will never find because they are hidden in God's secret place, waiting for those who seek Him. Many people live their whole lives chasing the world's approval. They ask, "What do people think of me?" instead of asking, "Lord, what do you say about me?" The world's approval is fragile. It can turn into criticism in a heartbeat, but God's affirmation is everlasting. When He calls you chosen, forgiven, and loved, no one's opinion can strip that away. That's why your greatest confidence will never come from the crowd, but from the Creator. Think about King Jehoshaphat in 2 Chronicles 20. Surrounded by armies too strong to defeat, he didn't run to neighboring kingdoms for weapons or try to buy an alliance. He gathered the people and sought God in fasting and prayer. And God responded with a battle strategy so unusual to send singers ahead of the army that victory came without a single sword being lifted. That's the kind of wisdom you get when you talk to God. Strategies that make no sense to man but lead to undeniable victory. Some of you are tired because you've been scrolling for answers instead of kneeling for them. You've been researching solutions endlessly but still feel stuck. It's because real direction doesn't come from an algorithm. It comes from an altar. There's something about being in God's presence that gives you the clarity you couldn't get anywhere else. You stop striving, you start listening, and suddenly peace fills the gaps that confusion once ruled. The danger of seeking the world first is that it can feed your fear instead of your faith. You tell people your problem and they tell you how bad it is. You look online and you find more reasons to panic. But when you talk to God, He won't feed your fear. He'll feed your faith. He'll remind you of who He is, what He's done, and what He has promised you. And that shifts your perspective from despair to hope. There is something holy about closing the door, turning off the noise, and saying, Lord, I need to hear You and You alone. In those moments, you realize you don't need everyone to understand your journey. You just need God to guide your steps. One word from Him can settle the debates in your mind, break the confusion, and give you courage to take the next step. The world rewards quick answers, but God rewards those who wait for His answer. If you're impatient, you might take the world's solution because it's faster. But if you're faithful, you'll wait for God's timing because you know His answer will not fail. The waiting room of God is not punishment, it's preparation. He's aligning circumstances, shaping your heart, and clearing the way for something that will be worth the wait. You can have all the world's knowledge and still lack peace. Knowledge tells you what is happening. Wisdom from God tells you what to do about it. Knowledge can fill your head. God's guidance fills your heart with courage. That's why Solomon, the wisest man to ever live, asked for wisdom from God instead of riches or fame. He understood that without God's insight, success is empty. Some people will give you advice based on their fears, not your future. They'll warn you against things God is calling you toward because they don't see what God sees. That's why it's dangerous to rely on human opinions for life's big decisions. God will lead you in a path that might look risky to others, but will be safe in His hands. If Noah had listened to the world, he never would have built the ark. When you go to God first, you save yourself from unnecessary pain. Many of the battles you fight could have been avoided if you had taken His direction in the first place. His Spirit will warn you about traps before you step into them, guide you around dangers before you see them, and open doors you didn't even know existed. The problem with the world's answers is they only treat the surface. God heals the root. The world will tell you how to manage your anxiety. God will give you peace that removes it. The world will tell you to mask your brokenness. God will restore it. That's why you can't afford to settle for temporary fixes when eternal healing is available. Even well-meaning people can mislead you if you depend on them instead of God. Remember in Acts 9 when Ananias prayed for Saul, later Paul, he was following God's specific instruction. Without that divine direction, Ananias might have been too afraid to even approach Saul. God's voice will lead you into assignments that fear would have made you avoid. You will know you've heard from God when His answer lines up with His word, brings peace, and glorifies Him, even if it challenges you. His guidance will not flatter your flesh, it will build your faith. The world's answers are designed to make you comfortable. God's answers are designed to make you complete. Brother and sister, talking to God is not just for emergencies, it's for every single day. The more you talk to Him in the small decisions, the easier it will be to trust Him in the big ones. A lifestyle of seeking God keeps you from being swayed by every wind of opinion because your roots are deep in Him. When you choose God's voice over the world's, you are making a declaration. I trust the one who created me more than the ones who merely observe me. That is a statement of faith that heaven honors. It tells God you value His wisdom above human applause and His truth above temporary approval. The world will eventually forget what it told you. People will change their minds. Circumstances will shift, but God's word will remain. When you anchor your decisions in His voice, you are building your life on a foundation that no storm can shake. So stop asking the world for answers. Go to the one who holds eternity in His hands, and you will never be lost. Thank you, brother and sister, for joining me today. Remember, the world's answers are fleeting, but God's wisdom is eternal. When you turn to Him first, He will direct your paths in ways you never imagined. Don't let the world drown out His voice. Seek Him and trust in His perfect plan. If this message spoke to you, make sure to hit that like button, share it with someone who needs encouragement today, and subscribe for more faith-filled inspiration. Let's walk this journey together with God leading the way. Stay blessed, keep trusting, and remember, God's guidance will never fail.